Hello, all you cool cats and kittens out there.
Oh, God. Yes, hi, all you cool cats and kittens. I'm Scott.
I'm John.
And we're married. We are the SweetTeaNoShade Knitting Podcast, which is neither a pod nor a cast. And we are bringing we are bringing you the best in COVID self-grooming.
Oh my God.
Our appearances probably look quite different than the last episode. I got itchy. My beard got itchy because it was hot and I was doing yard work and I decided I couldn't deal with my big long beard. So I shaved it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a fun adventure with you today.
Right. So I got a haircut, a home haircut. So
By me.
by him. Yeah, it was like, you know. Didn't even use a Flooby. Did it all free.
A Flowbee?
Flowbee?
My mom, Betty Ann, had a Flowbee.
No, she didn't.
Oh, yeah.
What?
She cut our hair when we were younger, and then she got a Flowbee because she loves everything as seen on TV.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, this is a brand new haircut.
it's
I
not perfect.
really like it though. Like, okay, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna once I can go to the barber, I will probably go back to the barber. But
That's hurtful. That hurts me right here.
Okay, but I kind
okay.
of there. But I kind of like the way this looks. I think the cut is fun.
Yeah.
And then I also got rid of my scruff because I felt like this haircut didn't really go well with a beard.
Gotcha.
Just cause.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of us, you know, adjusting. I might dye. I was on a Zoom call with my cousins this afternoon, and one of their daughters had dyed her hair like blonde and was going pink, and I'm like,
oh, it was a cousin Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because I was trying to figure out the collection of people that were on the Zoom
right.
meeting. Okay.
So anyway, she dyed her hair blonde, and she's going to go pink, and I'm like, well.
No.
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 No, you can do whatever you want to. I think if
No,
you want to do something fun.
I was thinking like doing a skunk stripe.
Oh.
Like Mina Luzon.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's why not?
Yeah. So this is a knitting podcast. This is not a hairdressing podcast.
It is not.
But you're probably wondering why I'm wearing a crop top. This is not the crop top, one of Betty Ann's crop. No, she wears tube tops, not crop tops.
That'd be a little modest for her.
Yes, this is a work in progress that I'm going to be discussing. And it was a little precarious to get it on, and it's going to be even worse to get it off. Because
needles right there.
I'm like, I don't need
to
put the whole thing on waist yarn. I can just put part of it on waist yarn.
Oh my God, that was your advice to me earlier, and
it worked. Now just getting it off is going to be a disaster. But I'm going to leave it on until we talk about it.
Good call.
So we've got some fun knitting type things to talk about.
We do.
We do.
Okay. And we have a movie review.
Yeah, so we're going to do what we did last time, which I thought was super fun.
Mm.
And I hope others enjoyed it. We're going to do most of our knitting content up front.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going
This is called front loading.
We're going to front load. We're not going to bury the lead. And we're going to do most of the knitting content up front, and then we'll have our as Angela Lansbury segment.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, every knitting podcast should have an Angela Lansbury segment. And then our comments, responding to our comments, which is super fun and interactive. So, speaking of super fun and interactive, we had lots of fun today because we sat in on the Needles at the Ready live YouTube live that they did today, which was really fun, and it made me want to do a virtual knit night.
Okay.
So I know there's some going on that we could join. So, I have a finished object and 2 whips.
Why don't you do? I have 3 whips.
Okay.
So why don't you do your finished object first?
All right. So, And I'm sorry if I seem a little low energy. I am very tired all of a sudden. I think it's so part of COVID Adventures 2020 is I've been picking a room to Marie Kondo. And for those of you who don't know who that is, she does this book. Was it a Netflix
She did a
series?
TV show, Netflix.
A TV show, and then she had a book about organizing. And so we did our laundry room just before.
We didn't do the laundry room. You did the laundry room.
Well, you helped.
I did.
We cleaned the laundry room, and I helped.
Right. I put stuff in the recycling in the trash can. So.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that room is much better now.
Yeah.
So I'm a little tired.
Well, to be fair, we've basically had cinnamon rolls for meals today.
That's right.
So
John made cinnamon rolls that are basically a duplicate for Cinnabon.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were so good.
They were very good.
Well, and so I was a little skeptical about when you were rolling the dough out, and they were like, the dough was like paper thin, but now I understand why. It's so, because like the ones that I've made, the dough is a lot thicker, but when you get all those layers in there, it was really good. Yeah. Why don't I talk about this first so I can get...
I'd rather watch you struggle with it for a little bit.
It's not struggling, it's hot. Because it's like 80 degrees down here because I turned the heat way up. Oh, that was the other thing is my beard got itchy because I was doing laundry work. Yard work outside and it got hot. We've had several inches of snow. John went out and shoveled just before this podcast, so we've had lots of snow today. So that's the fun of
Easter.
Spring. Yeah, that's the fun of spring in Minnesota. So this is the Patina Pullover.
Yay!
And what's funny about this?
I like the yarn detail. That adds a little.
Yeah. Well, I cut the.
No, I'm just saying you should keep the pink yarn as like a little accent.
Well, and I cut it off the skein, so I didn't have to drag the skein around with me everywhere because I'll just magic knot it together when I go back to knitting it. But I thought you were talking about that.
No, I like the pink yarn.
Yeah. So.
Very cute.
That is my waist yarn that's holding my stitches. I was thinking about this when we first started our podcast, 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. I didn't have a beard, and I was knitting this. And so there's pictures of me, and maybe even in the episode, there's pictures of me wearing the first time I attempted this sweater in this yarn without a beard.
Nice.
It's like the last time I didn't have a beard, which was like 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. If I could find them.
Yeah.
But. So, Patina Pullover. It's a top-down raglan sweater, and so I just got past the casting off the stitches for the sleeves, and
it's such an amazing feeling when you do that.
Yeah, and joined. Now I've just got to knit the body, and it's like I'm so like I remember thinking, oh, if I ever knit a sweater, that's just gonna be miles of knitting the body, but I'm so motivated now because I feel like, oh my gosh, I've gotten all this done.
Right, all the hard stuff done. Well, and I think that's why people might, I don't know, I've only knit, I started a bottom-up sweater, right? And I can see the appeal to both. Like with the top down, you have like, you get a sense of the sweater and it gets exciting.
Yeah.
And with the top up, you have all the boring stuff first and then it gets fun. So.
Right. But I really like.
Yeah, it's a really good pattern. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm happy with the yarn. It's I've talked about it before, but just it's wool ease, so it's like 17% wool, I think, or something like that. No, 10% wool, 86% acrylic, and 9% other fiber. Whatever that means.
Soylent Green.
Yeah, so it's the colorway is mushroom. It's Lion brand. So it's
I like it's got like fuzzy. It's a little fuzzy.
Well, it's not a solid color. There's variations in the color, but then there's these. I think that's what the other fiber is.
Right.
Is these little black strings that kind of give it a
little more depth. I think.
I like
and
it.
A little texture. Yeah, I like it too.
So I'm kind of excited to do this one, and then I like this yarn a lot. I don't find it difficult to knit with.
No.
It's soft, but I'm kind of excited to knit a sweater now with real wool. But anyway,
Well, the one thing that's tough about this one is you don't get, and you had done this, you don't get the sort of play with blocking. So this is the size it's going to be.
Right.
So. Right,
exactly. You can't really shrink or stretch it.
Right.
So the pattern is by Hannah Fettig, and it's the Patina Pullover, and it was in the first issue of Rib Magazine. It was actually on the cover of Rib Magazine, and in a yarn that's close to this color. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I'm really happy with it. It fits. It fits quite well, I think. It's not as baggy as on the cover, but I've got a dress shirt, not a dress shirt, but I've got a button-down shirt underneath this, so you're not paying attention to me.
I'm sorry, I went down I'm like, oh, I saw this picture of a pattern, like, oh, that looks great. Also, it was also from, it came up because it's also in that first Rib magazine, so the Lakeshore Boulevard pullover by Robbie Laughlin.
I just thought that side panel was a little fussy. That's why I've never really been interested in that. That's not really my style of sweater.
There's a sweater that I'm looking at. It's a it is a Argyle sweater. I mean Argyle, but instead of being color.
What does that mean, Argyle?
I'm going to explain.
I'll sit here patiently.
Please. So what it does is instead of having the Argyle pattern being done with like color work or intarsia, it's basically done with knits and pearls.
Oh,
so it's a texture.
You showed me that.
I think
before.
I have.
Yeah.
So I think that might be. I don't know. I've got many things in the queue, but that would be a really fun one to do. Just because it'd be fun. I think it'd be fast, and I think the yarn. I think he uses like Aran weight yarn. So.
So Ray from the Needles at the Ready podcast. Mm-hmm. He did that bib. I was blanked for a second. I was like, why did I bring that? He did that bib where there's a little dog pattern in it, and it's just knits and pearls. Yeah. And I didn't realize how distinct, like, you could see a pattern just from knits and pearls.
Yeah, and I think you'd want to have something with really good stitch definition like this, right? So I was thinking about doing it I've got blue of this, the blue woolies,
Yeah, so with the purple. Instead of the black threads, it has purple threads in it. Yeah.
So
cool.
Just a thought.
Yeah. So I'm loving it. I'm just gonna knit, and then you pick up, or you don't pick up, but you do ribbing at the bottom. Then you knit the sleeves, and you do ribbing at the cuffs, and then you pick up these stitches and knit a neck.
So I have a silly question. So the two sweaters I've done have been, you do the neck. So the two ones I'm doing, you do the collar, and that's the cast on. So why do people do the collar later? Okay. There's like an advantage.
I don't know.
Maybe because you can do
it's my first sweater, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe it's because you can do more like the bind off is little
like a stretchy bind off or something. Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, I don't think this is why they did it, but I've thought about doing this, is doing all the cuffs in a different color.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Because I'm not sure I'm going to have enough, because I attempted this sweater before. Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, this down to like here was one skein.
Yeah.
So I feel like this whole project bag is full of this yarn. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to pause for a moment so I can get this thing off. All right, so that's my sweater work in progress.
Awesome. I'll do my sweater work in progress now then, too. So this is, again, still working on... I don't know if I had it on the... if I'd done the sleeves last time or not. I don't remember how far along I was on it.
You mean... It's like, well, you haven't done the sleeves now, so... You mean cast off for the sleeves.
I think I had. I think I'd just done it.
I can't remember.
So I think we had that conversation where I talked about the sleeves casting off. So anyway, this is the Marledish by Corrado Lark. It is coming right along. So
it's a test knit, so he hasn't released the pattern yet,
right? And so, yeah, it is there. And
so talk a little bit about, for people who haven't watched previous episodes, about what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's basically done with yarn. Obviously it's marled, so it's two yarns held together. I had, so the color is, and this is, the brown color is Apple Fiber Studios Macintosh, the colorway Cedar Canoe.
You've gotten that down.
I've talked this, and so I bought this in Colorado and had 2 skeins of it. So the idea is you are basically marling all the way through. So that's the dark brown. The gold color is
Barocco. Butternut, right?
Yeah, butternut. It's a fingering weight Barocco. And then this gray down here is Emma's.
Oh, it's the Emma's yarn.
Emma's yarn is called Nailed It. It is by Emma's Yarn, Practically Perfect Sock. So basically, what you do. So what happened was I had 2 skeins of the cedar canoe, and I'm like, I really want to use this. I love it, and I wanted to marl it, but I couldn't find any more skeins in the universe. And so
last time it was the world.
In the world. Now it's the universe.
Now it's the universe. Okay.
I've decided. So then we went out and I bought this stuff, which I think this gray, which goes really well with the brown, and then bought the Barocco to sort of be the marled color with it.
It's reading kind of silver.
Yeah.
In the sweater, which is not bad.
No, it's
this reads very gray to me, but
yeah.
then in the sweater it's a little
pops
brighter,
a little bit.
Yeah.
And so what's kind of fun is the first bit. The collar is just the
People
cedar.
are gonna freak out about this sweater when you wear it. They're gonna be like, "That's the coolest sweater. Where did you get it?"
Yeah. With my hands and hard work and Corrado Lark's design. So the collar is the cedar canoe held together, and then this first part is all marled, and then I sort of did a transition area where I went from the brown, marling the brown, and then marling the gray every other row, and then I did sort of a straight gray marl, and then this part which I just started is kind of this bottom part of the pattern where, and I didn't think it would work, but it really is, where what you're doing is you are taking the yarn, so you've got you're doing basically a row of this yarn by itself.
Held double, but...
No, not held double.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a held single. You can sort of feel it's a little thinner there. I hope I'm doing this right, but that's what the pattern says. So you do a row of this, and then a row of marled, and then a row of the Barocco held single, and then a row of marled.
So that seems to me like it would create... Your stitches would be smaller.
I mean, you can sort of see that they are a little bit, but you can't really...
I guess it's just a row, so... I wonder why he did that.
I think because the way... I actually thought about like how is you holding double. You'd have to have another skein going. It just... I think it was a...
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So, but I mean, it looks... I don't know if you can quite see it at the bottom, but this is... The rows sort of start right here, where you see the continuous rows of the gray.
Can I hold the back?
Yeah.
I can't see from the back. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So this is coming right along. I have a deadline of April 24th to finish it. So I think starting right about now that I'm going to be knitting fairly monogamously on this one. So my hope is to have the body done by the end of next week and then just have the sleeves to do. So, which I think the sleeves won't take too long. So, but yeah, the idea would take to, do the sleeves and then sort of do the same sort of transition onto the gold and the gray.
Are you gonna do Are you gonna do magic loop for the sleeves?
Do we have? I don't know if we have 9-inch circulars in the right size.
We don't. We could buy them. Because I'm thinking about doing 9-inch circulars since I love 9-inch circulars so much. Speaking of which,
I was thinking. No, so it would go a lot faster.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll order those. So if I just got 9-inch circulars.
So Kevin and Ray are on my poop list.
And they don't like 9-inch circulars.
They made some derogatory comments about 9-inch circulars, and I forget what the gentleman's name was. It was like Joe. Hopefully he sees this and can remind me what his name is. But he came to my rescue, and he's like, don't talk bad about 9-inch circulars in front of Scott on their live thing, because...
That's your thing.
So. I have a cult.
I feel like this is
You're not biting. This is like how improv works. You're supposed to say like yes and.
Yeah,
You're shutting my creative back and forth down. How dare you?
I mean, you know, if there's nothing to respond to.
The dryer just cut you off.
So, but I wonder, it's like, this is like, what, 56? This is like 90 stitches. Would 9-inch circulars...
90 stitches?
This is 56 stitches right here. And this is 34.
Wow.
Yeah.
The armholes just must be... Because mine are 56 or 58 that I cast off and then cast on 12.
Really?
So the arms just must be a lot... It must be a baggier arm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of decreasing on the arm, too.
Yeah.
So.
There's not as much on
Yeah.
On this one, I don't think.
I mean, it fit when I put it on. It wasn't like I was like... but yeah, so... Yeah, we'll see. I'll probably just do magic loop. It'll be a little easier. And then I don't have to... Yeah. And then I can switch out the tips when it comes to the cuff. So anyway, very excited about this. Again, this is kind of my baby for the next 2 weeks. So...
You're going to have to knit monogamous, which is difficult for you.
Well, you know, what I'll do is I'll knit...
Monogamy is so hard for you.
Well, you know, sometimes, yes. Well, and what I'll do is I'll kind of... I've got 2 other projects. I'll probably knit on those, like a row or something like that. So I'm like completely abandoning them. But this will be it. So, but I feel like, you know, so... It's getting there.
Mm-hmm. Sure
So
is.
it's got probably maybe 6 more inches, maybe 5 more inches.
It's hard because you have to keep in mind this isn't your shoulders are up here and you've got it held down here. You really have to do it on your back. All right, well,
this is the front. Sorry.
So let's take a moment talking about the other podcast, Needles at the Ready podcast, made me think about. We were watching Chevy Rel's podcast today, and she's doing a really cool. Were you done talking about that sweater?
I guess I am now.
You do realize that I edit these podcasts, so I can cut anything nasty out that you say. Were you done talking about that?
I was done talking about
Chevy Rel's podcast. She and 2 other YouTubers are doing. I think they're also yarn dyers.
Yeah,
they're doing a make along, and I don't remember. You'll have to go over to her YouTube channel and her Ravelry. I think she's got a thing on Ravelry for her podcast, but she's doing an 1980s make along.
Yep. So,
and you found a really cool
pattern. I found a pattern. I hope it's actually one that's actually a pattern and not someone selling something on Etsy. But I'm pretty sure I've seen it before. That's the so the thing is called 80s Kids or something like that, and the idea is it has to be somehow 80s themed. And I found this cowl that is a Space Invaders cowl, and I'm like, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm gonna do it yet, just because I get stressed out with those things. I get stressed out even with our knit-alongs. Yeah, because I'm like, pressure.
Yeah, I mean, if I can't find, I mean, my thing is if I can find something I really am excited about doing, I'll do it. But I'm not just gonna do a neon sweater to do a neon sweater.
Yeah. All right.
You could do a headband.
Yeah. All right. So, I'll do my finished object now.
Okay.
So my finished object, that was weird, is my second Metropolitan hat from the first issue of Rib Magazine. So it's got this wonderful...
It's like you're like the girl from Julia and Julia who's like making all of the, art of French cooking.
Working my way through that one book.
Right.
So this is the Metropolitan hat. I don't know if this is going to show up because it's got like a slip stitch motif in it, and it's got a double brim. But it's... I kind of got... I think I've talked about this before. I got out of my knitting mojo, and then I was like... you know what? I need to go back to knitting stuff I like, because there were stuff I was working on. I was like, if I'm going to start something, I'm going to finish it, and it just knitting became work, and I just really fell out of love with it. So then I'm like, you know what? I loved knitting this hat pattern, and so I've knit it twice now, back to back. This is 3 Irish girls.
Oh, Savannah.
Savannah, good call. It's their TIG, it's 3 Irish girls. Springvale DK base, which is 100% superwash merino. Excuse me. And then, and then the other one I did was California Condor was the colorway. But I can't remember the name of the dyer. Oh yeah, it's right here. It's the Round Mountain Fibers is the dyer. So, which is a Vermont. They are in Vermont.
Did you block either one of those?
No.
Are you going to? Maybe.
Well, we talked about this.
You could steam block it.
Yeah, you keep coming back to that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why to me, I don't know why you couldn't just wash it. I mean, it's superwash. I don't know why you couldn't wash it just like you wash socks.
No.
Superwash merino socks. I think you were talking about being concerned about it losing the negative ease in the brim.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I think I do want to block it in some way because
we'll just make
or wash it, actually, is what I was going to say. I do want to wash it in some way because the other one that I did has it's a little itchy.
Yeah.
And this is a little, it's wonderful yarn, but it's not,
well, you
can tell it's not been washed.
Right, and it gets that, no, there's something about the bloom, I guess, that I really like.
Yeah. So, anyway, love this pattern. It's by Mina, Philipp, Knitting Expat. And so, it gave me a lot. Also this is the 3rd time I've knit this pattern, and just doing something, it gives me a lot of confidence in my knitting, and it, it's like, that's why I like knitting socks so much, is because I could just sit down and start on a sock and not have to look at a pattern, not have to think about it, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I've kind of gotten that way with this hat pattern, although I made some mistakes by assuming that I knew what was going on. And it's not that I don't want to follow a pattern. I like patterns, I like charts, but when I kind of got in, not a rut, but the opposite of a rut. I got in I don't like knitting anymore, and it's kind of, re-knitting this has kind of brought me back into reminding me why I love knitting. So it's like I'm doing the sweater, it's like I'm doing all these things that I wouldn't have done if I hadn't fallen back in love with knitting. And then also, I'll talk about that when we talk about that next pattern. So yeah.
All right. I'll do a really quick update on this. I
do think I'm going to cast on another hat though, but I'm going to look in my Ravelry queue for a hat pattern. I really liked Dye Monkey Yarn's Jessie. I think her designs are under Jessie Leroux, her last name. How do you say that in English? I mean, I know it means like happiness, but I don't know how you would pronounce it in English. I guess I should ask her that. But it looks like, I mean, it's Leroux, but it's like Leroux. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point of the story was she had a pattern called Michael's hat, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And I knit that, and that's the whole hat is rib. And I really liked that.
What happened to that hat?
I left that hat on the bus. I've left 2 hats on the bus.
Well, I'm assuming they're in a good place and being used and loved, right?
I hope so. Whenever I take hats or mittens off or anything off on the bus now, I put it in my bag.
That's a good idea.
Because the thing is, I don't think I just sat it on the seat next to me. I think I stuffed it into my pocket in my coat.
Fell out.
And then it fell out, All right.
What
do you got?
So, this is a new whip, old whip. This is the cowl I was knitting last week. The Escala del Dragon. Escama, I don't know.
Say it 3 times.
The pattern is upstairs. I don't remember what it is.
It's going to be right there on the screen.
Yeah. So, This is a
means dragon scale.
Means dragon scale.
Or scale of the dragon.
And this yarn is Herd of Cats. Herd of Cats, Road Trip, Sock Yarn, Roadside Wonders, Bishop Castle. Don't know why, but I love the name of the dyer.
I wonder, do you remember where you bought this? I know we've talked about this 19 times.
I think
it's Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, I think I got
Bishop
Lamb
Castle.
Shop.
Okay.
Lamb Shop.
Bishop Castle. It made me wonder if
Lamb Shop. Yeah.
It made me wonder if. Yeah, I don't know what that's a reference to. I was thinking maybe something British, but go ahead.
I have no idea. So anyway, this is the cowl I was knitting last week. Some things changed. So a couple of nights ago, I went downstairs I was having some trouble falling asleep, and I went down to go work on this, did a row, and realized that I had twisted the join.
And that must have been from the very beginning, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's my biggest fear.
I think what happened so I was knitting it on those sort of the two big. I started thinking I was going to do a magic loop, and then moved it to just in the round. And I think when I did that, I might have twisted it.
Well, no, but you can't. Can you? Can you twist it?
I don't know. I mean, you can twist. You can untwist.
I'll let you keep going.
So anyway, I don't know when it happened, but I got there, and I was about this far along, and I'm like, this is looking awfully Mobius strip, and it was.
You actually could have. Well, no, the Mobius scarves, they have to be bigger.
They have to be bigger, and it was tough, and it was too small for the needles anyway. So, and it's one of those things like I had not. So joining in the round and then twisting it is one of those things that like I live in great fear of, right? Terror. But I haven't done it. I haven't done a twisted join in like a long time, like a couple of years maybe. And so, I frogged the old pattern, and then due to some
the old work,
and then due to some sort of like moving stuff off and on needles, I was able to find the a cord, which is a 20-inch circular cord, and so it's going a lot better and a lot faster. So it's going on.
So you're knitting it in the round, not magic loop now.
Yes.
Oh, that's
knitting
good.
in the round, and I can't quite see what the pattern. It's got the slip stitches.
The longer it gets, and how many inches are you gonna knit it?
Until I feel like I want to stop it.
Do you have an idea?
Nope. I mean,
it's just a repeat.
Yeah. So, I could bind it off right now. That'd be super cute. Be a little tiny cowl.
It'd be interesting. It'd be like a scrunchie, scrunchie.
So, and then, I mean, the other thing is it'll. So when I did the original sort of design, whatever. So this will be about, I think, 20 inches in circumference. So when it's done,
and this
and locked.
Is the one that was done by that design team for
Manos de Uruguay. Yeah. So anyway, it's good. Again, this is probably going to get a little neglect, except for when I need to take a break from the sweater.
Right.
But it goes along, and I do love the color, and it's one of those things like it's always frustrating to lose work like that. But on the other hand, this looks a lot better than I had before.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like the pattern's easier. It's not so. I think having it on the bigger cable was like stretching it out, and it wasn't as the
fabric wasn't as dense or whatever.
The fabric wasn't as dense, and the slip stitches were getting kind of long and long and not as. I mean, it's still okay, but this will look better. So I'm excited about this. I'm sure it'll be done. It's a 4-row pattern repeat, and
4-stitch.
The pattern repeats over 4 rows.
Gotcha.
But it's also a 4-stitch repeat.
Oh, okay, because I thought I had remembered you saying
Yeah.
there was a 4-stitch repeat.
Yeah, it's a 4-stitch repeat.
And this is the one where you slip the stitches, then you put them back on the needle and knit them. That's so interesting. You'll have to later. You'll have to show me.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch that because that's interesting.
It is. It makes. I think what it does is I don't know what it does. It just makes for a.
It's probably a little denser.
A little denser, and it sort of does a little slip stitches kind of do an upward curve.
Oh, rather than like mine, which is just a straight
cross.
bar.
Yeah, so it does a little
more like a scale, like a dragon scale.
It looks like the Amazon.com smile. So yeah, but yeah, this is I really like this, and it's sort of just a kind of when I was on the call with my family this afternoon, I was just knitting on this. So and
it's
I'm
kind of
knitting
a mindless knit.
Yeah, well, it's a mindless knit. If you can remember, because the two, so there's 2 rows of just regular knitting, and then the other 2 rows are the ones that slip stitches.
Oh.
And so as long as you can, and luckily I can read this well enough that I can see where I am,
Yeah.
But anyway, this is probably going to be a little bye-bye for a little bit. But anyway, very happy, knitting it Portuguese, backwards in the round, blah, blah. So that's fun too.
Portuguese backwards in the round, blah, blah, blah.
Knitting it Portuguese inside out, so I'm knitting the wrong side. Or I'm purling it.
Yeah, that's black magic.
Well, it's all good.
All right, so I have one more whip. Do you have any? You have one more whip?
I have one more whip.
Yeah. So before we talk about that, for those of you that have been watching us over the past few weeks since Quarantine Palooza started, we did a couple episodes where we had a segment that I was Kay's Knitting Collection or something. And it was our friend Steve's mom who recently passed away. It was her knitting stuff. And we were kind of exploring and finding what cool things and there's a box of stuff somewhere that I have misplaced. It's
upstairs somewhere.
Oh, is it? Okay, we'll have to go through that one. Most of the other bags and things like that were just yarn.
Yeah.
So, and it's not particularly interesting yarn. So that's why we haven't brought that back. However, as we were cleaning out the laundry room today, I did have a bag of the yarn, and I had never pulled it out. A lot of it I was kind of happy to find it because a lot of it was like Christmas colors.
Oh, nice.
So, you know me, I love to knit Christmas stuff. So I've got a bunch more Christmas yarn to work with. But I found hot pads that she had made, which is really cool. And looking at these, I'm pretty sure that it's crochet.
Yeah.
Because it does not look like knitting to me. I have crocheted before, but it's been a long time ago. But those look like crochet stitches to me, and then it looks like it was maybe hand stitched together.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I do not know. I don't understand crochet one little bit.
So anyway, that's kind of very nice that we found these. We need to give one of these to Steve, I think.
Yeah, and we can always use hot pads.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Hot
pads and cotton knitted washcloths.
Yes.
I mean,
dishcloths.
Dishcloths, yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, I was thinking, can you make dish towels? Can you knit dish towels, or would that be weird?
Why would it be any different than dishcloth? It's a little bigger, right?
I don't know. Because I was like, for some reason, I hate all of our dish towels right now. Which we could just go buy a bunch, but I'm like...
We also go knit a bunch, too. We have a ton of cotton.
No, I don't think we have as much cotton as, like... I've gone through a lot of it with some of the washcloths I made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah,
something to think about.
These were cool that we found them. And then, that was that. So, all right, so is it my turn or is it your turn?
So I think before we go on, we should talk about things.
I don't want to talk about this right now.
It's important.
Okay.
So...
Are we calling this our Betty Ann update?
This is our Betty Ann update. Okay. So... Betty
is my mother.
She is a little problematic in some ways.
And I just want to point out that on episode 5 of the Needles at the Ready podcast, Ray's mother made a shadow box with their logo in it and this cute little thing that they hung on the wall. Betty Ann...
Where's our cross stitch?
Where's our Monopoly board, cross-stitch Monopoly board, cross-stitch University of Minnesota logo that she was working on for me. Of course, I know as soon as I say this, I'm going to get an evil comment or an evil text because I knit her socks like 7 episodes ago and I still haven't mailed them to her.
At least those are done.
That's true! Ooh, burn!
So, like all of us, Betty Ann is practicing social distancing, which is good. You know, that is the right thing to do. That being said, she's still managed to cause chaos. Mm-mm. So, a lot of people are using Zoom or other sort of messaging things to stay in touch. Betty Ann lurks on the social media. Mm-hmm. And when, like, suppose, like, a nice family, an Amish family, for example, decides they want to do a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not an Amish, maybe a Mennonite. I don't know. Anyway, when a nice family that is spread across the world, you know, they want to do a Zoom meeting to stay in touch. So Betty Ann will, like, stalk social media, find the Zoom number. Mm-hmm.
She's cool because she's a part-time hacker too. I don't know if we've ever talked about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a little terrifying. She will find the meeting number, like, in the middle of when they're having like Easter dinner, right?
Right.
She will pop on their Zoom wearing a tube top, and she'll just say the most
embarrassing,
most
inappropriate
things. And if
Joe Exotic ain't got nothing on Betty Ann.
I mean, so I don't remember Rickrolling when that was going on. It's been called being BA'd. I've been BA'd is a hashtag, and it's all these stories about how this crazy woman invaded our Zoom or Facebook Live or any number of things and just, like, took it over and, you know.
I just hope it doesn't get traced back to me.
Well, you know how Zoom did all those security updates last week? That was because of her.
It was because of her. It was strictly because of her.
So, I guess I would like to... I mean, she's not my mother, but I would just like to offer an apology. If you have hashtag...
I've been
BA'd, I'm so sorry. I would say it's the stress of the quarantine, but we all know it's just the same behavior.
It's just the same behavior over and over.
A platform, basically. I mean...
Right. Well, I mean, once she got into the hacking, you know, I think that was kind of where it crossed a line. We would see her out on her skateboard.
And she would do the same thing. She would go by people getting married, and she would skateboard through the wedding pictures. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it's a public place, great. But yeah, it's just...
It's problematic. But
it is problematic.
She needs to spend her time on our
Monopoly we're helping her.
Yeah.
You know, maybe instead of invading
Amish people's Zoom
meetings, or, you know, when the UN is trying to meet remotely, stay out of it. We're not going to talk about that. That's, you know, but we're legally
not allowed to discuss it.
That's true. It
didn't. The CIA contacted us.
It didn't really officially happen because it's all kinds of security protocols. But anyway, in the meanwhile, see, you could have a nice little cross stitch that says SweetTeaNoShade.
Yeah.
And we could be proud of your mother.
So, on that note, why don't you show us your last...
Okay. Are you okay, babe?
I'm so humiliated.
Yeah.
Like, we only had breakfast cereal for dinner. Just ask my brother.
Right.
Hashtag I've been BA'd.
I've been BA'd.
Yep.
Sad face.
Sad face.
So.
I have to pick up the pieces of my life and move on.
I know.
Let's talk about your last.
Okay, that's fine. Again, I'm so sorry. All right. So this is my shawl. It is the tail sheath wind.
Wind sheath.
No, that's the hat. This is Tailwind.
Oh, Tailwind.
Tailwind by Josh Ryks-Robinsky or Ryks.
You always say Risk.
Ryks-Robinsky. Oh, it's because it's RYKS.
Yes. I stopped editing
I am
it
so
out.
sorry.
I stopped editing it out.
I've
I've
just been reading it that way. Ryks-Robinsky.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, Josh. Also known as Geonitrix.
Yes.
So it's this Tailwind scarf. And so here... Shawl. So here's where I am with it. And this has all of the colors now. So...
so cool.
So cool. It gets the little repeat. So dark blue, less dark blue, blue, barely visible gray, brown, dark brown.
I'm so proud of you. I mean, it's kind of right.
Shut up. So anyway, I am very excited. Again, this is probably a little bit of a break while the sweater gets finished up. But what I'm going to do is, so the rest of the pattern is basically the same sort of triangle thing. Motif. It just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. And I think what we just talked about last week is I'm going to repeat this blue again, which this blue...
It's beautiful.
I want to knit everything. I mean, I actually like all of these colors, but this is just...
And that was part of that mini set.
Yeah, the Ravenclaw set.
Yeah.
With Beyond Measure by, I can't remember, someone who's no longer dying.
Right.
From a shop that is no longer in business.
Right.
But Jesse is still around. So, with Rustic Wanderings.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Rustic Wanderings is the main
color.
Yeah.
So anyway, super excited about this. It is coming right along. I really like this. And so yeah, I'll do another thing with the blue, and then this blue, and so it'll sort of this.
And I forget, does this pattern call for fingering weight yarn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could certainly do it in anything you wanted to.
Yeah, it's just looking at the picture of his.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess what he's showing there is the super long parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in the picture, it's artfully draped.
Yes.
He's
good at draping.
I know. He's really good at. I think I said this before. I did I did the turbulence pattern for your mom for Christmas, and he just does really good patterns, and it's just a really fun. I mean, it's one of those things that to me, it's like it's just lends itself really well to sort of finding fun colors and making it work.
Right.
So, oh my god. So speaking of pattern colors, so if we're gonna go way back in the Wayback Machine, so 2 years ago I did that Wonder Woman shawl. For the...
Yep.
So a friend of ours just did it too.
A friend of ours.
A
local congressperson, yeah.
Whatever.
But he is a friend of ours.
He's a friend of ours. So he saw it at the silent auction, bid on it, didn't get it. My friend Justin got it. So he actually knit the Wonder Woman shawl for himself.
Yeah.
Or a friend of his. And he did it in the sort of same colors I did, the blue, the red and the gold.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman colors.
And so what he said he was going to do is he might knit it again, but do it in like really subtle colors, like a gray and a blue.
Oh.
So you could have a shawl that you can give to someone that has the kind of the logo, the logo, but doesn't have like the...
But it's not cartoony or
it's not cartoony.
It's not costumey.
It's not, yeah, it's more little, it's more, I don't know, subtle. Subtle. So, I was thinking that, like, the way that you can just, with shawls and like that, you can just, like, the colors you pick just makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun idea.
Yeah. I mean, that was a fun shawl to do. That was where I learned how to do short rows.
Cool.
So anyway, this is coming along. Although, again, it's, like everything else, is going to take a backseat to the sweater for a little bit.
Right. All right, so my last work in progress is just cast on the second sock of my my socks that I'm knitting that are here's the first one. It's the yarn is Foxy by Ted Knits UK, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some gold toes on them once I ordered some more yarn from Ted Knits. and it's on its way. It should get here any day. So I'm gonna. Oh, this sock is done. I was like, why is it? My cats tend to chew through my yarn, but they did not in this case. So I've cast this on, and I'm working on the cuff. And
Nice.
so that's really all this other work in progress is.
Cool. And then we both have yarn on its way.
Yes.
Very excited.
I was hoping
about
that I would have it today, but it's coming
Yeah.
from the UK, so.
Mine is not, but I think mine was part of a yarn club.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it got sent out until early April.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah.
Yours is coming from Ken's Yarns?
Ken's Yarns, I think.
And mine's from Ted Knits UK.
Yeah, Ken's Yarns or Ken Yarns or something like that. But anyway, I'm very excited to see it. And I'm probably going to order some more yarn because...
Support your local dyers.
Yeah. Or you're not so local dyers.
Independent
Independent dyers.
Yeah.
Right. So,
all right. Should we? What's that horrible business buzzword?
segue?
No. Like pivot. Should we pivot and start talking about Angela Lansbury?
Yeah, I think we can.
So this week
in Angela
Lansbury Rabbit Hole, we watched Manchurian Candidate. The Manchurian Candidate. Although I want to pronounce it Candidate. Candidate feels weird to me. The Manchurian Candidate. That movie was really good.
Yep.
So that's the thing that I'm finding with this Angela Lansbury adventure that we're on is we watched Blue Hawaii, which was a lot more entertaining, and Elvis was a lot
funner.
Yeah. So what I was blown away by this movie is first of all, how dark it is.
Yeah, it's dark.
But how good it is and how good the acting is. And I had seen the remake with Denzel Washington, but I didn't remember the plot at all. So I was not expecting the ending.
Yeah.
And so it came out in 1962.
So, and this time, as we should be charting this, the Angela Lansbury mother-son age gap, 3 years.
3 years.
3 years older than her co-star.
Her son.
Her son, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. Yeah, this is a really good movie. Really intense, really well done, and she's awesome in it. To the point, like, when she has her final speech at the end, where she's like, I will grind them into just like, yeah! I was kind of with her on that one. Even though she plays a terrible person. But
she's grinding... Isn't she talking about grinding the good guys into the dust?
No, she's talking about...
we don't have to worry about spoiler alert.
That's true, spoiler.
1962.
When she's like talking to her son at the end, and she's like, when I have power, I will find the people who did this to you, and I will grind them into dust for the insult they did to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, so good.
Yeah.
She's really, really good in it. The whole movie is really, really good.
Frank Sinatra's in it, and he's excellent.
Yeah. Janet Leigh's in it in this really weird role.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it was only a year after Psycho.
Yeah.
And they've done her up to make her look, I don't know if old, she just looks a lot older.
She looks very severe.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that was actually really interesting is they had, of course, we watch these movies and go into these sort of IMDb rabbit holes.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things that was really fascinating is they had one of the characters is a psychiatrist, right, who works for the CIA, played by an African-American actor. And what they said is that was the first time in a movie, like a mainstream movie in the United States, where they did kind of the colorblind casting, where they had a character and they're like, we're going to put an African-American in it.
Right, he was I think the way that I saw it written was, it was the first time an African-American actor was cast in a role that was not described as a black character.
Gotcha, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really good. Very intense. I think we'll watch something less intense next. I'm going to go for maybe Samson and Delilah.
pagan orgies are
Pagan
the best.
orgies, or the picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
There were a couple. I was looking at her.
Have we looked to see how many movies she's been in?
Oh, like so many. I was looking at her IMDb page, and I was like,
people have recommended Bedknobs and Broomsticks,
Yeah.
which is a classic.
which I've never seen.
I've seen it, but it was so long ago.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been one of those things where I was little, and you know, when the adults want to like go in the other room and drink and play cards, and so they sit the kids down in front of a movie. That's my memory of it. Yeah. So the acting. I was trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention about it. There was a scene where. There's just a lot of trivia available about this movie to read about. And they talked about the fact that there's a scene that's where Frank Sinatra is giving a really
intense
speech, and the other character is he's been hypnotized or brainwashed or whatever. And so Frank Sinatra was known for doing one good take, and then he couldn't recreate
the first time he did it, it was the best take. So
and the camera was not in focus for the first take, but the director, which was an accident, but the director got such good acclaim or whatever the word is for leaving that in, because it spoke to the character who was viewing him as being kind of out of it. So yeah, it was a really fun movie. So we appreciate all the people that have been giving us movie recommendations.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think, so when I was, I guess, this is like kind of one of those things, when I was growing up, my grandmother was really into movies. And they weren't old movies to her, they were just movies.
Right.
So she was really into movies, and my dad was sort of picked that up from her. And so I just remember when we were growing up, kind of like your aunt, like we would go to, well, for a while we'd go and get Laserdisc and rent the laser. Not the laser, it wasn't quite like the Laserdisc machine. You'd rent it and buy the big old thing and watch that, and then you turn the machine at the end of the night. But yeah, we would once sort of VHS come, he'd go out and get these movies like this. So I remember watching them in Turing when I was like pretty, like maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah.
So, and like there were just scenes I remember. I'm like, oh god, I remember that scene and being, blown away by it. So, but yeah, it's fun watching.
I'm sorry. Now that you mention that, it's interesting because there's a few times when members of my family would do the thing where they're like, you're going to be, like, you have to experience this, which is always really cool. Like when you get older to look back. So like, I remember when my dad's father, he said to my brother and I, he said, you're going to sit and watch this movie. And my grandfather was not the most, he was a great grandfather from what I remember, but he was not the most, he didn't interact with us that much.
Right.
You know, he was a great grandfather, but it wasn't like we did a lot of stuff together.
Right.
And so for him to say that, it really, when we were, that age, it really impressed upon us, okay, well, what is this? So the movie, he's like, this is my favorite movie, you need to sit and watch. So it was The Sound of Music.
Oh.
So, like, we sat and watched The Sound of Music as little kids, and it's like, I'm glad that I had that experience. And then similarly, one time when I was a teenager, my dad's like, this is when we still had Walkman radios. He gave me a cassette tape and a Walkman. He said, go lay down on the bed and listen to this album, the whole thing. And it was Abbey Road by the Beatles. So it's like, it's just, it's like those things stick in your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Those experiences.
Speaking of which, my brother and his kids, they were watching, we were on a Zoom call with him earlier, and they were watching The Sound of Music on Easter.
Is that like some TV channel would always show?
I remember. So I
thought it was at Christmas.
I thought it was The Sound of Music at Christmas, and I felt like watching The Wizard of Oz on Easter.
My friend Margaret.
Oh no! The Ten Commandments was always on it over Easter.
Moses,
extravagant fool, or I can't remember.
The 10 Commandments, yeah. And then, what was the other one? There was, and for
Sound
for
of Music,
me,
Wizard of Oz.
And Gone with the Wind.
Right.
I think, was that a Christmas one? I think, no, that one they always played right before Christmas break.
Right.
In school.
Of course.
In South Georgia. We watched Gone with the Wind, so.
Okay, yeah.
So what do we think? Well, we're going to either watch Samson and Delilah or
Picture of Dorian Gray.
Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
And we'll have to watch Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. And,
yeah.
Maybe we'll watch a couple more movies this week. We've got plenty of time.
We do.
All right, so now we're going to pivot and review our comments and respond to some of our comments. So I was really good for like the first couple days, and I responded to some of them directly in the comments, but I haven't over the last couple days. So Knitting Bent commented, go to your local craft store and get the Clover circular stitch holders for sleeves. It's a great knitting tool to have, and it saves yarn, especially if you will be knitting a lot of sweaters. That I'm glad that Knitting Bent brought that up, because I have some that I bought because I thought they'd be because it's like they have like a stopper on one end and a knitting needle tip on the other end, and then it's like a cord.
Yeah.
And I have used them, but you never have you?
No, I have not.
So we have a long one and a short one, and so John needed the long one, and so we can't find the long one. It's probably in a project bag somewhere.
We've done, to be fair to us, we have gone a long way as far as organizing our knitting stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting better.
Yeah, but we're going to get some more. So if you've never tried those, the thing I really like about them is, like I said, it's got a knitting tip on one side and a stopper on the other, and you can just very easily pull your stitches off onto it. And it works really well. The one mistake I made, though, and it's hard to describe, but I tried using it to knit off of, and it didn't work. You have to, once you're done with it, you have to transfer the needles back, or the stitches back onto the other
Why
needles.
Why can you knit off? I was actually thinking about that. That would be perfect.
Well, it's like, it's on the needle's on the wrong side.
Oh,
the needle tip is on the wrong
you're knitting...
side. And the other side, the side that you would normally knit with, is a stopper.
Okay.
So, I love the fact that both Zen Knitter and Vicky Neal called me on the fact that I said something about Elvis being attractive. Both of them were like, so Vicky said, he's so flippin' gorgeous, it's unreal. And Zen Knitter said, I don't know what to say, girl. So I thought that was really funny. Oh, I wanted a shout out to Paul Festino, who had said, look for the Sock Knitters Workshop by Essa Hosted and Stephanie Kanderlinden, which is a book with lots of heels and toes in one book. So I immediately, after I saw that comment, I immediately went over to Amazon and bought it. Of course, they are prioritizing more important things than knitting books, although I don't know that there's many things more important than knitting books, but...
In these times, yes. I mean...
I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Amazon, it's probably not going to come till the end of the month, but thank you for that recommendation. I'm really excited about that. So Leslie asks, was wondering, where did you get the bag that the Escama del Dragon cowl is in? Betty Ann gave us that.
Yeah.
My mom.
Do you want to see? I think it's got a label inside it for you.
Yeah.
It is Little Monkey's Stitch and Spin.
So Little Monkey Stitch and Spin has patterns on Ravelry and has an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
Looks like...
they're taking a little break, though.
Oh. Yeah, they don't have any.
Yeah.
They might not be around anymore. Their last comment, or their last review was in 2018, so... in Houston, Texas. So, but they do have patterns on Ravelry you can look at. But Kamala Howe said, part of washing and blocking is removing any excess dye from the yarn and removing the oils from your hands. If, after you soak your hat and let it dry flat, it is seeming a little looser and more floppy, you can always dampen it and throw it in the dryer as long as it's superwash yarn.
Yep. I've never done that before with stuff.
Yeah, I knew somebody had commented that there was more than just there was a reason.
Right.
You know, and so thank you for that.
That makes sense.
And I think that Imalahau has been, I don't know why I try to pronounce the screen names, because sometimes they're not meant to be pronounced, but she has been a viewer of ours for a while now. I think she might have entered our knit-alongs. That screen name jumps out at me as very familiar, so I'm sorry I don't always have a good memory about that.
So Sheila Murphy.
Hey Scott, why don't you knit your socks 2 at a time?
Because I tried doing that once, and it was...
Yeah, I think the reason I don't is because
Because you do the 3...
I had to think about it for a second.
You do the 9-inch circular.
The 9-inch circulars are the only way to knit socks. And if you don't knit them that way, you're wrong. No,
well, because I was actually tried to do... And it was in the car, so it was probably a bad idea to be doing it anyway. But I tried casting on 2 socks at a time. And I tried it one time too, and it was fine, but I think part of it is I don't ever get second sock syndrome either. Right.
So it's like as soon as I'm finished with one sock, I cast on I love knitting socks. I never get tired of knitting socks. So,
gotcha.
And I love the 9-inch circular. So that's mainly, I know people swear by knitting 2 at a time, and plus I think it's smart because you're sure to knit the socks the same exact length with the same exact length cuffs. There's a lot of real positives to doing it, but it's one of those things where if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or it's like I'm not having a problem that I need to solve. And then Scott Strong Wallace commented, he's given us permission. He said, girls, order more cords, problem solved. That is so true. Yeah. Part of it is we know there's like 5,000 cords hiding in our project bags.
Yeah, it's like... it is we need to go into the project bag purge. Yeah. Or a project bag looting. I mean, because there's stuff that...
But we do, once the whole, like, stay at your house thing is over, we've got Harriet and Alice, our local yard. They sell they just have a huge stock of
I wonder if they're doing pickup, or...
They're not. Okay. I think you can go online and you can order and they'll deliver stuff. Okay. They're not doing curbside pickup anymore. So...
The problem is that we've ordered cords in the old world. I've ordered cords off Amazon before, and they don't always get the right size.
I have had horrible experience ordering stuff like that off Amazon. It's because they don't pay attention.
Right. So I ordered, and it was fine because you can never have enough like hats, gloves, and shoes. You can never have too many cords.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, it was for, I think when I was in the flax sweater, I needed a 30-inch cord, and I ordered a large and got a small.
I thought you ordered a small and got a mini.
No. I got a lot.
There was one time we got oh no, it wasn't you, it was me. I had ordered, and I got a mini, and I didn't have the mini set. Mom has since bought us the mini set, but...
So I ordered a large, got a small, and so it was fine. I'm actually using the small for my sweater right now, so...
All right, so excellent comments, everybody. Keep them coming. We really appreciate them. And yeah, so I think that's about everything, right?
Yeah, I think so. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
If you get B8, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hashtag I've been B8. And then so we'll be back again soon. So
all right, probably next week.
Probably next week.
Bye.
Bye.